Welcome in, everyone. I'm SquishableMoon, your shooting star alien VTuber with a ranch addiction and fewer brain cells than the common garden snail. And welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to be making another My Little Pony Forgotten Mark Syndrome AU. If you don't know what the infection AU is, it's basically just making My Little Pony in a scenario in which there is an infection, a syndrome, an illness, or an outbreak of some kind, and we make an AU out of it. Like in every video, I'm going to explain what Forgotten Mark Syndrome is, so if you want to see my entire AU, there is a playlist that you can watch starting from the beginning with Twilight Sparkle. Forgotten Mark Syndrome is based off of a real illness called Cubgrass Syndrome. I used Cubgrass Syndrome as a template to make my own illness since I didn't have very much experience making my own. I thought it would be useful to use one that was already out there, so I picked an illness that sounded interesting and added my own stuff on top of it to fit into the My Little Pony universe. Cubgrass Syndrome, also known as Delusion of Devils or Imposter Syndrome, is a rare psychiatric disorder that causes people to believe that their loved ones have been replaced by identical imposters. The imposter can also be inanimate objects or animals. The belief is so real that nothing can really correct it. So, like Cubgrass Syndrome, Forgotten Mark Syndrome is very similar. People who have Forgotten Mark Syndrome believe their cutie mark has been replaced with another person's cutie mark, or that a friend or family member has been replaced by an identical imposter. The illusion is so strong that it's basically impossible to correct. So far, we have seen Twilight, Pinkie Pie, Rarity, and Fluttershy in my AU, and today we're going to be doing RainbowDash. Now, RainbowDash has never been one of my top favorite characters, not because I never liked her. I always thought she was a cool character. I liked her in Friendship is Magic, and I liked her before she was Friendship is Magic RainbowDash as we all know her. I always thought her design was very cute. I liked that she was a Pegasus pony, and I really liked her rainbow hair. I liked that she was a cool and sporty type character. You know, she was always the sporty one, and I've always loved that and everything about her. She's also kind of kooky, crazy, like a little trickster who does little types of tricks on her friends. And who doesn't love trickster characters? I know I do. She's more of like a tomboy type character, which I really liked that she was a tomboy because growing up as a country girl, I was a tomboy myself. I know that she's not everyone's favorite character, and I know in a lot of episodes in the show, they don't necessarily correlate with her personality correctly. I feel like when it comes to shows, sometimes they have to change the characters' personalities to make certain things happen. Because if they want something to happen, the personality sometimes gets in the way, so they have to change it to make the thing that they want to happen. Which I completely understand. It's just something that happens with shows. Sometimes the show's characters gotta switch their personalities around, and sometimes it makes them change the personality a little too much. But it is what it is. It just happens with shows. Whatever, we're over it. I know a lot of people think RainbowDash is kind of a jerk, and I believe that she can be, but I kind of like that part of her character because sometimes people are jerks without realizing it, you know? And definitely RainbowDash can be a little bit abrasive and go too far, but I think she genuinely means well and doesn't understand when she's doing something wrong. I like her character because it adds a necessary role to the group. If we just had a bunch of no jerks, no nonsense characters, that would be a little boring. RainbowDash brings a little edge to the table and gives us a little bit more character to work with, which I really like. I like the dynamic of all the characters together. And I feel like at one point or another, all of the characters have been a jerk. It's not just RainbowDash. The reason we think of RainbowDash as the jerk character at first is because she's the loudest, most out there character, and it's easy to just call her the jerk out of all the characters. Especially since she likes to pull pranks, and there are a couple instances when she was definitely a jerk. But for one reason or another, she never exactly was a pony I thought of very much, which is really unfortunate because she's a very rich and diverse character. RainbowDash is also the element of loyalty, which I thought was really interesting coming from her. I feel like loyalty during my Forgotten Marks syndrome will be tested quite a lot, and her loyalty was definitely tested a lot during the show. I feel like RainbowDash is definitely the type of person who likes to get what she wants and could have gotten what she wanted sooner if she had just not been loyal to her friends. RainbowDash can also be a very selfish pony, a lot like how people see Rarity being very into what she likes and wanting to do what's best for themselves. But I don't really see it as a bad thing because it's really important to care about your own life and what you have going on, especially since RainbowDash had goals a lot like Rarity and had always dreamed of being a Wonderbolt. It made sense that her life would revolve around doing everything in her power to be the best so she could become a Wonderbolt faster. That was one thing that her and Rarity always had in common. Rarity wanted to open a bunch of boutiques, and RainbowDash always wanted to be a Wonderbolt. With that being said, the reason it took me so long to move on to RainbowDash is because I'm doing them in order of ideas. Twilight was first because I wanted to have a very strong idea, and I had a strong idea for Twilight Sparkle, and then I did the next one after that, the next one after that. RainbowDash and Applejack are the ones I did not have stories really planned for, so they're the last ones I'm doing because it took me longer to make a video based around them. Now, Applejack will probably be the last of the main 6 I do because she's my mom's favorite and I want to do her correctly. I feel like she gets a little bit of the shorter end of the stick, so I'm going to try to make her video a little bit better than the other ones because I feel bad for Applejack. But because RainbowDash is the element of loyalty, I feel like she's going to be a very important role in the Forgotten Marks Syndrome AU, and she's going to have a very important element as well, similar to the element of kindness being very important during this time. Because she is the element of loyalty, she isn't going to give in to all the bias and the evilness that's going around between ponies. She's not going to believe people. It's like, oh, your friends have turned into changelings, or your friends are doing too much. She's not going to be into any of that. She's going to be loyal, and she's not going to take shit from anyone about her friends. If RainbowDash is friends with you, she's never going to do anything against you. I feel like she is a really good friend, and she would never go out of her way to hurt her friends' feelings if she had a choice. I think during this time, there will be a group who want changelings to be banned, obviously, from Equestria, with all the bias going around and the rioting. There are going to be ponies who group together who do not want changelings or other creatures to be in Equestria. I feel like these groups are going to be run by people like Chancellor Naysay and anyone who had a problem with the other creatures coming into Equestria to begin with. One of the ponies that is going to be starting to boycott other creatures coming into Equestria is going to be Lightning Dust. If you don't know who Lightning Dust is, it's a rival to RainbowDash. They met during Wonderbolt training, and Lightning Dust did get kicked out for her bad behavior. Lightning Dust is going to try and change some of the minds of the Wonderbolts and the people who go to the Wonderbolts for their assemblies to try and make their own flying team. She wants to make a team in order to harass the changelings and the other creatures and to stop them from going to Equestria and basically getting them kicked out. They will even hold rallies similar to what the Wonderbolts do, telling other ponies that the creatures are going to change their way of life, make it harder on them. They think that the changelings are going to take over, the yaks are going to stampede their homes, the changelings are going to eat their children, and that everything is going to fall into chaos if they allow the changelings to integrate into society. It makes sense, like I said, that ponies are going to have biases whether they think so or not. Deep down, it is just a normal part of being alive. You are going to have biases. And I think since ponies are so used to there only being ponies in their society, they are going to be biased against any other creature that comes into Equestria, especially ones that look a lot different than what they're used to, like the changelings. Now, where exactly does RainbowDash fit into all this? RainbowDash is going to now be a captain of her own Wonderbolt team, leading her own team in Equestria. RainbowDash will be tasked with holding announcement assemblies to let everyone know what is going on. She is going to be keeping the peace and making sure everyone knows that it's safe. She is also going to be holding Wonderbolt meetings to help Scout with keeping the rioting under control. Not only is RainbowDash the element of loyalty, but I feel like she is going to have a very loyal following. Their loyalty is going to be tested with Lightning Dust trying to get everyone to support them instead and getting the changelings chased out of Equestria. So for RainbowDash, in order to show her trust and loyalty in everyone, she will perform the Sonic Rain Boom constantly in order to show that she is still there for the changelings coming into Pony Society. The Sonic Rain Boom is also going to play a very extremely important part in my AU. The Sonic Rain Boom will affect anyone who is infected with Forgotten Mark Syndrome and give them a couple hours of clarity. The Sonic Rain Boom will remind ponies of their true cutie marks and who they truly are, and give them a moment of just clearness that they are able to see past the infection. The magic of friendship will be a lot stronger whenever the Sonic Rain Boom will go off, leaving for about a couple of windowed hours for them to get to the hospital or get people to a safe place if an outbreak has gone on. Now, because of RainbowDash having to perform the Sonic Rain Boom so many times, I feel like Rainbow would start to infect their wings. Their wings would start to get tipped with rainbow coloring, and their hooves would start to turn white from having to kick clouds so often to start the rain boom. I also believe that their cutie mark will also get a lot bigger during this time, similar to how Pinkie Pie's cutie mark stretched down her leg. I feel like it would be possible for her cutie mark to become bigger or her wings to grow larger in order for her to make the Sonic Rain Boom a lot easier. During a time where cutie marks are being questioned and people are having to be in the hospital in quarantine and people could possibly be turning into changelings and changelings don't know what to do, RainbowDash's loyalty, like I said, will be tested during this time. Does she think it's best for the changelings to be in Equestria after all of the damage they could cause? Or will she stay loyal to her friends in the Changeling Kingdom and believe that they deserve to be in Equestria in the School of Friendship just as much as every other pony? Only time could tell. During this time, we actually find out Lightning Dust is infected with the Forgotten Mark Syndrome and truly believes that she is supposed to have RainbowDash's cutie mark. Because Lightning Dust believes that RainbowDash has her cutie mark, she's becoming very hostile to anything RainbowDash related. She is going to do everything in her power to do anything that RainbowDash can do to prove that that is her cutie mark, even dyeing her hair to match her fur, everything to look exactly like RainbowDash. This all comes to a head when Lightning Dust tries to perform the Sonic Rain Boom on her own without prior training, because she believes that if RainbowDash is doing it, it's because she has her cutie mark. Lightning Dust believes if she can pull up the Sonic Rain Boom, she will get her cutie mark back and everything will go back to how it's supposed to be. Now, I'm unsure if other ponies can pull off the Sonic Rain Boom. It seems to be a very special move that only RainbowDash is able to pull off. Though I'm not sure if we've ever seen other ponies try to pull it off. I like to think that only RainbowDash or maybe RainbowDash's descendants are able to pull it off, because I like to think of RainbowDash as the fastest flyer known to ponykind. RainbowDash, of course, being the awesome pony she is, will try to warn and stop Lightning Dust from performing the Sonic Rainbow at the festival, trying to tell her how dangerous it is to do the Sonic Rainbow and how you could hurt yourself and all the reasons that she shouldn't do it. And of course, telling her that the reason she can do it is blah, 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 blah. She could get hurt, but of course, none of this is going through Lightning Dust's head. She's not listening, and she isn't gonna go to the hospital regardless of RainbowDash's words, of course. So during the Wonderbolt performance, the other Wonderbolts that are working for Lightning Dust are going to do their performance, ending with Lightning Dust trying to perform the Sonic Rainbow. Lightning Dust surprisingly does get close to making a Sonic Rainbow, but before she is able to actually complete the Sonic Rainbow, she sprains her wing and plummets to the ground. However, RainbowDash is able to fly in quickly and save her from hitting the ground. In order to save Lightning Dust, she performs one last Sonic Rainbow of her own, giving Lightning Dust a moment of clarity and also saving her. Lightning Dust realizes that she has been in fact infected by the Forgotten Mark syndrome and is rushed to the hospital thanks to RainbowDash. All of the ponies at the festival witnessed RainbowDash saving Lightning Dust, even regardless of all the beef that they had in the past. All of the guests are in awe and think that RainbowDash is awesome for saving someone even if she didn't like her. It shows just how loyal and awesome RainbowDash is to everyone. And RainbowDash seems like a hero in all of their eyes and is applauded. They want to build a statue for RainbowDash because they believe RainbowDash is truly someone they can look to as a leader and to help them get over their fear of the changelings. Now, there isn't exactly a cure for Forgotten Mark syndrome, but there are people who can get better with the help of magic. Lightning Dust, thankfully, didn't have a super bad case of Forgotten Mark syndrome and was able to get some help. RainbowDash went to visit Lightning Dust every couple of times in the hospital to check on her, and they ended up having a couple of sessions where they had really good conversations. RainbowDash and Lightning Dust ended up becoming closer friends because of this, even RainbowDash giving Lightning Dust an option to join her Wonderbolt team when she is fully recovered. I think we gave Lightning Dust a lot of problems in the show and a lot of shit for it because she was meant to be a rival character for RainbowDash, but I honestly feel like they could have been really good friends if they had just gotten rid of all of the animosity between them. Though I like that. I like that they were fighting. I think that they push each other and it is a good thing. In a lot of ways, I feel like Lightning Dust is kind of like Starlight Glimmer to Twilight. So RainbowDash will have a pupil of her own. I think RainbowDash could do well with a pupil and having to be the teacher for once to help her understand herself better. Being a teacher will give her time to learn things that she might not have learned if she wasn't a teacher. So I feel like Lightning Dust will be a good pupil to RainbowDash to help her realize a lot of things about herself and also have to deal with a lot of other friendship problems that she might not have dealt with before. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching my Forgotten Mark syndrome on RainbowDash. I'm having a lot of fun with this. Our next character is probably going to be Applejack, which will not be my last pony, by the way. I plan on doing a couple of the side characters, so keep that in mind. But what do you guys think? Do you think that Lightning Dust should be redeemed? Do you think Lightning Dust and RainbowDash should be friends? Or do you think they should stay enemies? Friends? Enemies? What do you guys think? With that being said, I'm SquishableMoon. I hope all your dreams come true. Bye-bye.